You're listening to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast, episode number 100. Yay! There's someone out to get you. Someone trying to trip you up, keep you down, and steal your lunch money. I would tell you to beat the crap out of that someone, except for one small little thing. That someone is you. Today, I'm going to share how to beat your inner bully. Welcome to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast. I'm your host, Krylyn Peters. Each week, I bring you inspiring messages to help you create the life you're meant to lead. Buckle up, buttercups. Welcome to my podcast. Before I even get into anything today about that stupid inner bully, I want to just say happy 100th episode to the podcast. Yes, today marks my 100th episode of doing the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast, which started back in June of 2015. And here we are in May 2017, still going strong 2 years later. So yay, happy 100. All right, so as a really special bonus, I love to do these little celebration things. Last year, I launched a new kind of thing, the things that I had learned off the first year of my podcast. And for now, what I'm launching is a really, really extra special share for all of you out there who listen to the podcast. So starting today, I am going to be providing you with a handout that goes along with each show that you can download, and it has all the tips that I've shared on each episode, along with some even extra tidbits of how you can put those tips into action. So starting today, you can download a handout that goes along with each episode on the podcast page. For today, you can go and get the Beat Your Inner Bully handout at krylyn.com/100. That's KRYLYN.com/100. So my gift to you in celebration of being on air for 2 years. Okay, so here we are, ready to get down to that inner bully. So what the heck am I talking about? I think you know. Because I think you, like me, like so many of us out there, are really hard on yourself. You've got the inner critic coming at you from both sides, that negative voice that is telling you what's wrong with you, how you're not good enough, and all sorts of other big, fat lies. So why do we have this inner critical voice, this nasty, nasty thing inside our heads that wreaks havoc? Well, the short answer is that we are just mimicking things that we've heard in the past. Oh, yes, it's that past coming to bite us in the ass again. And that's sometimes true. Sometimes we are hearing the messages that we heard when we were younger. We hear those voices telling us that we can't do something, that we're not good at it, that we should be quiet, we should not be heard, we should be seen and not heard, those kind of messages. So that's one way that those messages get in our head. The other way is that they come in through what we thought we heard. So it's our perception of what people did or said to us in our past. So our perception can sometimes even be more harmful than what actually happened. That's really important. So I'm going to say it again. Your perception of what happened, meaning your perspective, what you think happened, can often be more harmful than what actually happened. So these messages that come at us from our own heads can often be what we think about ourselves, what we think we heard about ourselves, rather than what is true. And I'm actually going to go out on a limb here and say the negative things that you say to yourself, that you think about yourself, are rarely ever true. It's mostly just a bunch of big fat lies. So the job of the inner critic is actually kind of a nasty job. The inner critic, its only job is really to keep us stuck keep us down, keep us playing small, keep us in fear. So that, I mean, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a great job to me. But if that is your job and you're doing it well, then I guess that could be considered a good job. So yay, inner critic, maybe? I don't know. But most of us would not want to pat that inner critic on the back. Most of us want to punch the crap out of that thing and send it flying across the room, hitting into the wall and smashing it into a million pieces. Because here's the thing, that inner critic is keeping you down, is keeping you playing small, keeping you hidden when your truth is about showing your greatness. It's about living this wonderful life that you're meant to lead, the one that you know is out there, the one that you probably already have several aspects going well for you, but it might not just be quite right yet. There's a piece missing. There's something that you still want. There are things out there. There are goals yet to be had. So we want to get through that. And the way that we can get to that side of getting to where we want to be and living that juicy life is by beating the crap out of this inner critic. And there's no better way to say it, because we've got to have a little bit of levity and sense of humor about it if we're going to tackle this thing head on. Because that inner voice, as you know, is serious as all get out. It has a job to do. It's really, really serious about that job, and it's going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. But we're not going to let it, are we? We are going to face it head on. And here is how. I've got 3 tips for you on how to beat that inner bully. So here we go. Tip number 1 is to remind yourself that that bully is a big, fat liar. That's right. You cannot trust the negative thoughts. This is what is tripping you up right now, is that when you hear the thought, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, I'm not strong enough, I can't, all of these types of thoughts, when you hear that, you have to remind yourself this is not true. So when you hear these things, you have got to go, what's going on here? What's going on is your inner voice, that bully, bully, bully inside your head is trying to do its job. So you cannot let it. So tip number 1 is you've got to remind yourself that that bully is a big, fat liar. Tip number 2 is to counteract that bully or the critical statement that that bully has to say with something that is true. So if it's telling you a lie, you need to counteract it with the truth. So if it says something like, you can't do this, what you say instead is, yes, I can. Or I can with the support. I can do it. I'm awesome. Like, there's so many different ways to counteract that bully. But you first have to recognize it, right? So in that first step, you've got to remind yourself that there's a lie going on. And then the second step is to counteract that lie with the truth. So any thought that comes up. And remember, when you download this handout, I'm going to go over all these tips, and I have some extra little helpful things to help you identify what's going on with that inner bully. So be sure to download that, and it'll help you along with all of these tips. So tip number 3 is really to tell the bully off. You can tell that bully that he or she is no longer welcome in your head. That bully, it's done. We're done. Like, end the relationship. It's time to move on. We're not a good fit. Get the frick out of my head. It's to escort that bully from the building. Let that bully know it's no longer needed, and do not give it permission to rent space in your head anymore. You can also say things like, I hear what you're saying, I don't agree, and it's time for you to move along. So think of a really cool way to tell that bully off and tell it to get to stepping. So I hope that's helpful. Follow these 3 steps. Be sure to download the handout at Krylyn.com/100. That's KRYLYN.com/100, and get to beating that bully. Thanks for listening to the Get Out of Your Own Damn Way podcast. If you've been inspired, please share the podcast with your friends. You can find us on iTunes or at Krylyn.com. KRYLYN.com.